Hello everyone, I'm Forecaster Nathan Kitchens. Thanks for clicking on to your convective weather video forecast. Let's take a look at the current radar map across the country. We're watching the storm system. This is part of the same storm that produced all that severe weather this weekend across the central portions of the country. And it's part of what's been a very active past week across the central and southern plains. In fact, preliminary counts suggest that 137 tornadoes have occurred or have touched down in the U.S. since May 5th, last Tuesday. So it has been quite an active stretch of severe weather across the central plains. And along with that, you have several threats, including major flooding that has occurred because of these heavy downpours that have, obviously with these huge thunderstorms that have developed. And in some cases, we had several inches of rain in a matter of just 2 to 3 hours, causing tremendous amounts of flash flooding. So it's really been a tough past week for so many across the central and southern plains. And thankfully, we are seeing a break in some of these areas that have dealt with the severe weather over the past several days. And now we are watching the storm system moving eastward now. The center of low pressure is up here across portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin. You can see the spin right here. Center of low pressure is right through here, and we have a cold front trailing down here across portions of the Mississippi, east of the Mississippi Valley. And we have thunderstorms developing across the Ohio Valley. This all goes all the way down into the Tennessee Valley and into portions of the Gulf Coast here. Along this trailing front, we have convection here in southern portions of Texas and portions of Louisiana and Mississippi as well. We're also watching thunderstorms that have been producing, we've had several reports of wind damage. In fact, mostly the reports so far today have been wind damage reports across portions of Kentucky and portions of Ohio and portions of eastern Indiana. And we're watching this cold front continuing to progress eastward associated with this storm. And we're going to continue to run the risk for severe storms throughout the evening hours across this area, with the threat gradually diminishing a bit as we get past sunset. Let's look at the current watches and warnings across the country from the National Weather Service homepage. And you can see we do have a severe thunderstorm watch in this kind of purple shading here from central and eastern Kentucky and into portions of eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania and parts of West Virginia as well. And we also have a tornado watch here in the yellow from eastern Indiana and also in the portions of western and central Ohio for this evening. So continue to be on high alert this evening as we do have thunderstorms pushing through. So far, the main reports have been for wind damage and hail. And in fact, you can see if I click on the image here into portions of Ohio, you can see as of this recording at 6:20 Eastern Time, we do have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in place across this area. Main concern really will be wind damage, especially in those areas under severe thunderstorm watch, and the areas under the tornado watch means conditions are a little more favorable for perhaps a few spin-ups out there. This is not looking like a major outbreak. The parameters are not off the charts, and this really isn't anything like what we saw out in the plains yesterday and over the past several days. So I think that is certainly good news. And this severe threat will actually continue to shift eastward into the Eastern Seaboard by the time we get into Tuesday. Let's look at the Severe Weather or Storm Prediction Center outlook for Tuesday. We do have a marginal risk in place across portions of the Eastern Seaboard. Again, just a marginal risk. The system is really losing its strength, becoming more of a occluded system. And we aren't looking at the setup being, where we're going to see widespread major severe weather by any stretch of the imagination. We only have a marginal threat in place here across portions of the Northeast here, portions of Maine down through Massachusetts. We also have another area we're watching here, and across portions of the Carolinas and parts of Virginia. Main threats tomorrow will be damaging winds. Really, we're going to have more of a unidirectional shear environment, more of these linear storms that will be rolling on through. We could see damaging winds in a few instances, at least some gusty winds with these storms. Can't run out some large hail as well, and of course, but again, I think the severe weather criteria, it's really, most of these storms are going to stay below that. That's why we have the marginal risk. I really think even when we get gusty winds and maybe some small hail, I really think it's going to stay probably mostly below that severe weather criteria. And again, severe weather criteria means winds gust of 58 miles per hour or greater within storms and hail diameter of 1 inch or greater. I really think these storms are going to stay below that criterion for Tuesday across a good part of the eastern U.S. Let's look we're going to have this trailing cold front down here across the Gulf Coast states. We will watch for the potential persistent and developing convection across this area. On Tuesday, we have a marginal threat here in this darker green shading, and a slight risk in place across portions of far southern Texas. So main threats through here will be potential for maybe some damaging winds and large hail. We'll watch it, and you can see we do have a marginal risk in place across portions of New Mexico, low upslope flow. We're also going to be watching portions of Idaho, and you can see portions of central and eastern Idaho and portions of southwest Montana. Here we're going to be on the eastern periphery of an upper level low across the Pacific Northwest, and we could see a few thunderstorms developing here. Could contain some gusty winds, maybe some small hail. Certainly not going to be a major deal, but certainly some thunderstorms developing in this area for Tuesday. Going into Wednesday, severe threat really isn't a severe weather threat to talk about. In fact, right now for the day 3 outlook, we only have this outlined area here showing where the potential exists for general thunderstorms to develop. Now, of course, this, if anything, I would not be surprised to see something issued here, at least a marginal threat, maybe across portions of Texas on Wednesday. But for now, probabilities are too low for any severe, even a marginal risk. So right now, all they have issued is just a general threat for thunderstorms on Wednesday in this light green shading. So let's go now into let's look at the GFS computer model. I'm going to show you how things will be setting up throughout the rest of the week. We have our storm system here that's pushing through the northern Midwest right now, and the area of low pressure is now pushing into portions of the Great Lakes. Boy, what a system this has been. Keep in mind, we had a blizzard on Saturday in portions of South Dakota, Wyoming, significant amounts of snow. What's interesting is, just south of there, we had, in portions of Colorado on Saturday, we could go literally in just a 20-mile distance between a tornado warning and heavy snow. So quite incredible a storm system this was. Now, of course, it's losing its steam as it continues to push eastward here into the eastern U.S. And, of course, over the next couple of days, we will be watching this trailing cold front that will we will see the potential for some thunderstorms. Of course, this evening, we're watching that severe weather threat across the eastern portions of Ohio down through portions of eastern Kentucky this evening. And in fact, real quickly, I'm going to show you the HRRR model to show you the trend of the storms throughout the evening. And what you will see is that as we head later on into the evening hours, we will see the storms gradually beginning to lose their steam as we do lose that daytime instability that we need for these storms to continue to feed on. And I'm sorry I didn't have this up already, but I'm trying to get it up here. The HRRR short-range model, this is a pretty good model that we use to watch the trends over the near-term range and forecasting here. Go to the latest run. I'll get to the area where we need to watch for this evening. Again, I'm sorry I don't have this up already. Let's go to Midwest. And here we go. Looking at the trend throughout the evening hours, we've had thunderstorms developing here across eastern Indiana, eastern Kentucky, and Ohio, and in this warm sector of the storm system ahead of this cold front through here. And as we go into the evening hours, this is by 5, 6 o'clock this evening Eastern time. We'll continue to watch this cold front pushing eastward, and as we get into 7, 8, 9 o'clock, here's the map by 8 o'clock Eastern time, and you can see that we'll continue to watch for some storms across portions of Ohio, and everything continues to gradually push eastward over throughout the overnight hours. So we'll continue to watch portions of Ohio and Pennsylvania later on this evening and into the overnight hours. Now, as we get into Tuesday, of course, that threat will be shifting eastward into portions of the eastern, closer to the Eastern Seaboard on Tuesday. But again, the system will continue to see a lesser threat for severe storms as the storm continues to move eastward. So now going into back to the GFS computer model, I'm showing you how things will be setting up over the next several days. We're watching that storm pushing eastward Tuesday with that cold front. Now, ahead of that cold front, it's going to get warm. Actually, it's going to get hot. I mean, it's going to get into the middle 80s in Boston tomorrow before those storms and showers hit. New York City could get up into the upper 80s. In fact, I believe forecasting high around 88 in New York City on Tuesday, and Washington, D.C. could get into the lower 90s. So we're talking an absolute summer feel. Of course, a lot of these areas have been in a very summer-like regime as far as our temperatures are concerned over the past week. It's been very warm. In fact, I live in Indiana, and here in Indianapolis, we've had 6 days in a row with temperatures in the 80s. Pretty impressive for early May, to say the least. Of course, that cold front is pushing through as I speak here in Indiana, and of course, we're seeing those temperatures beginning to drop. A return to more typical spring-like weather over the next few days, but I mean, even typical spring-like temperatures will feel quite cool compared to that summer-like feel that we've been enjoying over the past week. In fact, in some cases, it certainly has been a little uncomfortable. I'm looking forward to that cooler stretch of weather coming in over the next few days, along with that lower humidity as well. So we're watching this storm pushing out of the eastern U.S. on Tuesday night into Wednesday. Area of high pressure taking over across the central portions of the country. Tuesday into Wednesday looking very quiet, and eastern U.S. will continue to see improving conditions on Wednesday with much cooler temperatures as well. So you can say goodbye to summer-like weather for a little while, and we'll be watching things kind of starting all over again across the portions of the southern plains by the time we get into Wednesday. Again, right now, the Storm Prediction Center does not have southern Texas outlining any severe weather risk on Wednesday into Thursday, but we'll watch to see if that changes at all over the next few days. And as we head into Thursday, during the day, we're going to watch this area of low pressure pushing into the upper Midwest. Showers and even some thunderstorms possible. I mean, we'll be watching once we get into Friday and Saturday, area of low pressure here. We're going to be watching an increased threat for showers and some thunderstorms as we're going to have a good flow coming in out of the Gulf of Mexico. Nice conveyor belt of moisture here across the central portions of the country heading into Friday, and really a pretty active map as we go into the weekend, as we will have a continuation with showers and some thunderstorms here. As you can see the wind flow here around this high pressure, and it's out here just off the coast of the Carolinas, providing a warm southerly flow across the central portions and even eastern portions of the country. Area of low pressure cyclogenesis here in the upper Midwest. Good southerly flow will provide plenty of moisture. I mean, we'll have rounds of showers and maybe some thunderstorms, along with plenty of warm temperatures and humidity heading into the weekend and into very early next week. And then finally we'll see the storm pushing through. In fact, a week from today, here we go again, kind of deja vu, where we have a low pressure pushing through the upper Great Lakes region and another cold front pushing through, maybe even a few severe storms around this time next week in the same general areas, and then a cold front pushes through, providing cooler air behind that front. So looking at temperatures over the next several days, let's go to the air temperatures here off the GFS computer model, just showing you the trends. You can watch the cool down coming in behind this cold front. You can clearly see this here heading into tonight and into Tuesday. Check out our highs tomorrow. Very warm across the Eastern Seaboard here. You can see all the 80s and even some 90s showing up. Much cooler here across the central portions of the country, where we have a nice refreshing surge of spring-like air versus the summer-like air that we saw over the past several days. And we're gradually going to see return flow developing as we see this high pressure shifting eastward. We're going to gradually see the return of more warmth and moisture across the central portions of the country as we head later on into the week. And once we get into Friday, you can see the warmth is really starting to overspread again, and it looks like a very warm pattern for this weekend, along with rounds of showers and storms across the central and even eventually the eastern portions of the country as well, with some cooler air across the west. Now, that is all I have for this video forecast. Thanks for watching. Hope you all have a great evening.